Today we're going to be going over my endgame PvE tier list for Space Marine 2. This is purely for endgame operations, and we're going to be talking about class picks on high difficulty only. I've invited my buddy True Vanguard to join the conversation. We each have close to 90 hours into this game already after just a few days, and we've each made our own tier list, which we're going to share with one another and talk about why we rated each class where. Big thank you to my buddy TV, and be sure to check out his channel linked in the video description. Alright, without any further ado, here we go. All right, here I am, and we have True Vanguard joining us, as I mentioned in the intro, and we're going to be going over the class tier list for PvE Space Marine 2. TV, thanks for being here.
Happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Which class do you want to start off with first? We have 6 in total.
In the game, how do they appear in order from left to right?
I think on the far left is tactical, actually.
Tactical, yeah.
We both are approaching about 90 hours in this game at the day of me recording this video, and I believe between the two of us, you have more experience with tactical. So I'm gonna...
I do.
You definitely do. I'm going to reveal my ranking for tactical, and then I want you to reveal yours, and then I'll defer to you for why you put it there. So I put tactical at the top of A tier. I think tactical is very good. I have little experience with it so far, but again, when we've played together, our classes, we've kind of like got coverage on everything on the field. Yeah. And I am always really excited when you bring tactical to the fire team, because I think they have a lot of very stellar perks to help the team play.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So where did you put tactical?
So I'm going to tell you this. I started out with tactical at the top of A tier.
Oh, okay.
For my work in progress tier list that I've been working on, I today have now elevated it to S tier.
Really? Okay, great.
And there's a very good reason for that. So one of the things I love about tactical is that it's not the best at any one thing, but here's the thing. It can do melee combat very well. Full parry builds that integrate with the perk that applies the Auspex debuff to anything you parry. It's not better than Bulwark at melee combat, but it's very good at melee. It's amazingly good at single target, high priority target damage. It's not better than the sniper at that, but it's very good at it. And then when it comes to ad clear, it has the Melta rifle. It has incredible ad clear potential. It's not better than heavy, but it is very good at it. So there's the thing, is that it's very good at everything. It has all your bases covered. So because of that, I am now consistently farming hard mode operations solo and getting out with purple armory data, no problem.
I was looking over the tactical tree because I can identify certain perks that you're bringing to the party, and when they kick in. I think the favorite perk that you bring to the party is Marked for Death on the tactical tree, which is a headshot will immediately kill a Majoris or Extremis level enemy marked by an Auspex scan. It is so beautiful when you do that, because you just call out, just headshot it, and then the Extremist level enemy will just
die. Could be a pistol. Yeah.
Could be a bolt pistol, and you shoot it in the head and it goes down immediately. And you use that in combination with when you parry an enemy, they automatically get tagged by your scan. And those two work in tandem with each other. So you parry them, and now you just hit them once in the head and they immediately go down and die.
It's amazing. And that perk, by the way, is on the top row. So it's early game. So tactical can get access to that. I think it's at like level 8.
Wow.
You'll already have that perk, which is, I think, is one of the best perks in the game. There's the two you just called out. There's one more that is an S tier perk for tactical called Emperor's Vengeance, and it makes it so that anytime you kill a Majoris level enemy, you get a full magazine's worth of ammo refunded to your primary weapon. So I run the Melta rifle with the highest magazine capacity. So every 30 seconds, I'm getting like 11 Melta rifle shots, which is incredible.
That's wild.
So it completely tables the whole ammo economy issue. And so when you and I are running together and I'm running tactical, I'm literally letting you pick up all the ammo if you're the sniper or the heavy. Right now, at least, I don't know if they'll change this, but the plasma incinerator only has one magazine. You don't reload it. All of your ammo is just, in the bank. So you get full 130-ish shots depending on what version you're running. You get 130 ammo for your plasma incinerator every time you kill
Which is so crazy. You can ride that perk all day, which you often do. I feel like, again, you never run out of ammo when we do max level difficulty missions together.
I just walk past ammo crates these days. Nah, I don't need that.
I don't need that. Excellent. Okay, so you elevated it to S tier. That's very generous of you. I will respect that decision, though. I think that's a good call.
Yeah, like I said, the only reason I ended up bumping it up is because now I think for all the classes I have maxed out, it's the only one I can comfortably solo max, like hard mode difficulty on. I'm now to the point where I've refined the build so that I can solo hard mode content. With bots, I had to clear this morning with just 2 bots. It wasn't actual players on hard mode, and got the massive enemy wave. And at one point, I have a lictor and I have a dozen majors in my face as well as ads, and I got shoved into a corner and did not get down. Because tactical can recover that contested health to 100%. With one trigger pull.
Yep.
And so that's what makes it able to face tank all that stuff. And as long as you are able to slip in a parry, slip in an Auspex scan, you'll be able to clear those big waves and not worry. And you don't have to kite, you don't have to run, you don't have to try and find cover to regenerate your armor. You just work off of that red health bar in the thick of it, and I love it for that.
Okay, next from left to right, I believe photographic memory, not the assault. Yeah, probably assault. Now, admittedly, before we get into the assault discussion, between all 6 classes in the game, this is the one that you and I have probably the least amount of playtime on. But I have a friend who's quite adept with assault, and also, again, approaching 90 hours. We've played tons of missions, and we've had many a teammate rotating in on every class. So do take our rating here with a grain of salt, because, again, this is our least played class. But I still feel like I have a very good handle on where Assault belongs on the overall tier list. So where did you put Assault? And I'll tell you where I put mine.
Put Assault at D tier.
Okay, yeah, I put it in C tier, and literally the debate was, do I put it in C or do I put it in D? I decided to be generous and put it in C, because of my lack of, maybe there's kind of a hidden gem. I've combed through the skill tree, and again, I think I'm being generous by putting it in C tier. I had high hopes for the Assault class, and so far the amount of time that I have played on it and the effort and what it brings to the table that I've seen. My good friend Nerdlit again has a very high Assault class, and he agrees with me even though he's got a lot of hours put into it. He doesn't like it. He thinks it's bad, and I would agree with that, unfortunately, which is a shame, because the power fantasy of leaping into a crowd of dudes with a jetpack and a big thunder hammer is wonderful. It's a really cool, well-designed power fantasy.
I felt like I got debated because having played through the campaign as Titus, and it's like the second to last mission, I think. You're flying around with that jetpack. You're going like 100 feet into the air.
So high in the air.
And you can just rain down death through it. It is so cool. So I was really excited to try out Assault. But man, first and foremost, many of these operations have spaces with low ceilings, especially the later operations when you're dealing with chaos. Can't even fully take advantage of the the tactical advantage that elevation gives you on the Assault class. You try to use your jetpack, you just end up hitting your head on the ceiling, and you can't really go anywhere. You're kind of really vulnerable. But beyond that, if you want to do ad clear, heavy's got to be. If you're I just want to do the hammer, melee combat, Bulwark's got it beat. There's nothing that it does that is better than anybody else. Not having a primary is a big deal. It is a big deal. Not having a primary weapon when you are kind of you're trying to play as the tip of the spear. You're supposed to be getting in there, and because I have started to level up Assault, but one of the things that I have found is that you don't have, because of how long it takes to get the hammer swinging, you don't have the ability to really capitalize on getting back your contested health the same way you can with other weapons that dish out big damage faster. You know what I mean? So survivability is a real issue, and there are things you can do as the Assault that makes it a little bit better. As you level it up, you can resist being stunned. Your attacks don't get interrupted, which is a big deal. You don't want to get stun locked. But still, just getting that contested health back is not an easy thing to do.
I'm going to completely agree with you. When I played through the campaign, every time they took the jetpack away, my whole team just cried because it was so fun. It was like, oh, we can't wait to get to Assault. But in the campaign, you can jump up 30, 40 meters in the air. But in endgame operations, it's such a lower ceiling. And you have to retrain your brain in how you're going to approach groups of enemies. And going through the skill tree of the assault class, the majority of the perks either focus on kind of melee damage, charging your hammer, or potentially resisting being knocked back, or you're less likely to be interrupted when you're charging your whatever. When I run assault, or when I run with other players who main assault, this is no shade, but they're almost always the first player on the field to go down. Like, it happens every time. Like, the assault guy always goes down because they're encouraged to be on the front line for melee combat. And again, Bulwark outshines assault, in my opinion, big time, because if you look through it, we'll get to Bulwark, shortly, but the majority of everything on the Bulwark skill tree is focused on, DR, damage resistance, and, saving your contested health. Again, I'm going to put more time into assault because I was looking through there are some things that I haven't unlocked yet, like, proven efficiency. All squad members deal 50% more gun strike damage. That sounded kind of appealing to me. Or active attrition, enemies hit by melee attacks take 10% more damage for only 3 seconds, which is not too long. Yeah. But if you're farming Operation 2, the big bad Tyrannid boss at the very end of the operation, like, that could be kind of key for farming. But even still, I'm kind of disappointed by the assault. I feel like it only kind of shines in ad clear, but there's so many better classes that you can do.
Yeah, that's the thing. And God forbid, you're on a harder difficulty and you have to fight like a Neurothrope spawns. And,
God.
And here's the assault with his hammer, like, I'm useless, guys. There's nothing I can do. This is all on you. Or you get, you're doing the operation where you have to take down the dragon and you get these short damage windows, and here's the assault with this pistol just poking away at it.
Yeah. I believe next up we have the Vanguard, right?
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, between you and me, Vanguard, it was your first class, I believe, at max rank. So I will tell you where I put Vanguard, and then you can tell me where you put Vanguard.
Shoot.
I put Vanguard at the top of B tier.
I put Vanguard bottom of A tier, just because I think that Vanguard has a lot of team utility that gets often overlooked. One of the biggest things that they're doing is making it so that everybody in the fire team is getting big chunks of their ability cooldown back and refunded to them whenever they're doing finishers, which is a big part of the game, obviously, is doing executions. The grapnel launcher, you're applying like 20% debuffs to enemies that you kick. So anytime is it 20? Something like that. But if I grapple in and I kick an enemy, now everybody's doing more ranged damage on that thing. So they're really good at just like picking the one guy out of the crowd that needs to go down, right? Yep. Is it the extremist? Is it a major that's causing issues? So you grapple in, you kick him. Now it's like a diet Auspex scan, where everybody's now doing extra damage to this guy.
Auspex scan.
Yeah, and on top of that, like, they have a perk in the tree that just makes it so that they get to ignore death. Every 2 minutes or 3 minutes.
Emperor's Blessing is the
Emperor's Blessing. Yeah, it was just like, what? Every 3 minutes you just say no, thank you to death. And they also have access to the Melta rifle, so they're amazing at ad clearing. They their whole kit, like the Melta doesn't need any help on its own. It's going to handle ad clear no problem. But then the rest of their kits are really all about just taking down the big guys. Like, he's the assassin on the field. His job is to quickly zip around the battlefield and pick out the guys that need to be bullied, the guys that are causing problems.
That's right, yeah.
And that's what makes him so useful. And that's why I put him at the bottom of A tier.
The one thing that held me back a little bit from putting him in A tier was the unfortunate 2 armor meter instead of 3. I could agree with the bottom of A tier because literally when you bring Inner Fire, that's the name of that perk, by the way, that team perk, where anytime someone pulls off a finisher, you get more ability charge. Inner Fire on its own is probably an A tier level perk, and it's very generous. It's like 15 to 20% or something like that. Like, if I just do a couple finishers when I'm playing Bulwark, I have my chapter banner ability back almost immediately. It's
so nice.
Shocking how good that ability is. It's very, very good.
And a quick note on the 2 armor bars.
Sure.
And the squishiness of Vanguard. A lot of that gets offset in 2 key ways. First and foremost, there's a perk in the perk tree that I recommend everyone playing Vanguard should use. But it makes it so that you take 20% less melee damage. And if you're playing the Vanguard class correctly,
that's good. Yeah.
You are in melee range at all times. So you just get a flat 20% DR. for being a Vanguard, which helps to offset the fact that you only have 2 armor bars. But then in addition to that, you also have a lot of perks in the perk tree that are all about extending your perfect dodge windows and your perfect parry windows, and then capitalizing on those. So using those to queue up other special buffs. So getting away from and evading and parrying attacks that would otherwise be seriously dangerous to you is a lot easier as a Vanguard if you spec into it as well. So that helps to offset the 2 armor bars.
Sure. Yeah, I could see why you would put him at the bottom of A tier. I wouldn't put him on par with the tactical, but I do think the Vanguard is quite good. Again, if you're going to play a Vanguard, I heavily recommend that you do what TV does and put on the Inner Fire team perk, because I think that's a phenomenal perk for the Vanguard. Next up, we have the Bulwark.
This is like your realm here.
This is my bread and butter, and I may be a little bit out of line. I may be out of line. This might be my hottest take.
Okay.
But you tell me where you put Bulwark. I'll tell you where I put Bulwark.
I put it at the very top of A tier.
Respectable. You know, it's kind of funny. We flipped between our mains. We've done the exact same thing with our main. So
Yeah.
I put the Bulwark in S tier.
Sure.
And the reason I've done that is because I've saved, not to pat myself on the back, I've saved many runs by just being so hard to kill as the Bulwark. And really, honestly, staying alive, in my opinion, is the most important thing you can do in a max tier difficulty endgame operation, because as long as you're staying alive, eventually you'll win the operation via a battle of attrition. And the Bulwark shines very brightly in the realm of just being a tank and staying alive. You have the big shield, so many perks on the Bulwark skill tree. I have it brought up right here, are focused on damage resist and just staying alive. You have Conviction, Armor of Contempt, Scrambled Targeting, Steel Within, advanced conditioning. You have so many of these perks which do exceptionally well in keeping your Bulwark alive. You're not going to slay out, but you're going to be the last one to go down if you're playing the Bulwark correctly. I've had so many situations where I'm just surrounded by just an absurdly stupid number of enemies, and
Sure.
I just get all my contested health back. I get all my armor back. You can't even begin to put a dent in me. It's going to take me a while to take down all the enemies that are surrounding me, but I'm going to do it. And when I'm done, I'm probably going to have the most health and armor left out of the entire fire team. So that is why I've put Bulwark in S tier. It's kind of the slow and steady wins the race option for me. There's a lot of options for a perfect parry build, which sometimes when I'm feeling kind of cheeky, I'll change it up for the perfect parry build. But my permanent kind of forever build is just everything on the table for, damage resistance and all that beautiful stuff that makes me a supreme tank. Now, there are downsides where, like, if an RNG boss fight happens, like a Terminus level enemy TV, like the floaty guys, then things can get a little difficult, but
Right.
which is, only the really Achilles heel. But if you're playing well and you're covering your team and you're tanking damage, you can let them kind of help you bring it down while you're literally just in the front line tanking all the damage.
Put it top of A tier. I honestly believe it's probably the second best class in the game, and it is pretty close. The only reason I don't personally escalate it to S tier really is its single target damage against like the big guys, and not having a primary weapon. It really it has a specific role, and it fulfills that role exceptionally well, which is to me the exact opposite of the issue with Assault, where it has a specific role and it's not even all that great at it.
Right.
Bulwark is just like, let's execute perfectly on its power fantasy and what it's supposed to do, and that's great. My only reservation is just that if I bring Tactical and I'm solo queuing, I know I'll be fine no matter what. But if I bring Bulwark and I'm solo queuing and something goes wrong and my teammates just don't know how to take down the big guys, like you said, it is a war of attrition. You could be looking at a long clear. You're the one keeping it alive, but you're also not the one expediting the progress of the operation either.
Love it to death. I love that we took our mains and kind of
Yeah.
twisted them for A and S.
So take that with a grain of salt, everybody. Yeah.
For sure. But again, I think they're so close on our rankings that it's not too far out of whack. So I'm glad that we're kind of pretty close to being on the same page there. Next up on the tier list, we have the sniper. So this will be kind of interesting. I originally had put sniper into very high contention, but the more I played it, it's one of those things where the more you play it, you're like, oh, okay, I'm understanding the ins and outs and the weaknesses and the strengths a little bit better, right? So I put sniper at the bottom of A tier. Where did you put sniper?
I very similar.
Okay.
I started out thinking snipers easily A tier, but the more that I played it as well, especially at higher difficulty levels, and as a predominantly solo player, the more I started to see the gaps and the holes in the class. And so I ended up putting it at the top of B tier. So obviously one of the biggest issues is the ammo economy. Like you have to, you're that guy in chat where you're like, hey guys, if you see ammo, can you save it for me? Hey, can I have the ammo? I need the ammo.
Right.
And that's definitely a big part of it. They are exceptional at single target damage. And but obviously one of the biggest challenges with that is even when you're focusing on the single targets, some of them are just harder to snipe. Like you get a Carnifex that is just flopping around everywhere doing his bold charges, and you're trying specifically to hit headshots because that's where your modifiers are really kicking in, and your perks are kicking in to help you do extra damage. But you just can't hit that headshot as consistently no matter how good you are. He's spinning around. He literally has a whirlwind attack where he's putting his claws down and spinning like a helicopter. It's like, okay, man, good luck.
Right.
I don't care how good you are. You're not consistently hitting the headshots on that. But there's like even the one thing that it's supposed to do well, it does do it really well, but there are conditions. You know what I mean? So there's definitely gaps there.
That.
There are ways of bypassing the ammo economy, but I think it's not intentional, the whole like weapon swap with the adamant restoration. I don't think that's intentional. I think they're probably going to address that. I could be wrong, but it seems like a glitch.
It does seem like a glitch. It's very strong when executed. My friend Nerd loves doing that all the time. I'm sure that'll be corrected in the future.
And even still, you have to be at very low
30% or lower
to
health.
make that work. Yeah. So you are extremely squishy. And obviously the perfect dodge is queuing up invisibility, getting revives, queuing up invisibility, and having access to queue up invisibility manually and clear all your debuffs. That is helpful for survivability, but as a sniper, I have noticed the very second I go invisible, every enemy then turns and then double teams up on my teammates. You know, so do I like the extra damage I get on big targets when a sniper's in the fire team? Yes, I do. But I also am not crazy about the fact that I then am forced to tank a lot more aggro because the sniper's on the field as well. Like you are now on the hook for a lot more ads than you otherwise would have been.
I think the sniper has very defined, very easy to see strengths and very easy to see weaknesses.
Yeah.
So the sniper is allergic to crowd control. When anytime that you know a bunch of low-level trash enemies start rolling up on the sniper, you're like, oh god, because you're not very well equipped to deal with it unless you're rocking the bolt carbine. But I don't think many snipers that I know are rocking the bolt carbine. They're usually rocking the sniper.
It seems so contrary to what you're supposed to be doing. Like, as cool as it is.
It's interesting. Actually, TV, I've been running the sniper with the bolt carbine with the modification that turns it into kind of like a rapid-fire scout rifle. That is actually, that's actually fairly respectable. But even still, not super well built for trash clear, just like slightly better at trash clear. But
it's not better than a Melta.
Definitely not. But the sniper is very good at dealing heavy range damage, dealing with Majoris, Extremists, depending on how agile they are, especially Majoris. It's like the sniper is the Majoris killer, especially
the Chaos.
Chaos. They get ripped in half. They get ripped in half. But yeah, I put them at the bottom of A tier because when I have a sniper on the team, I feel very, very confident, especially as the Bulwark. I'll be in the thick of combat, come at me, and I just know that if I'm doing my job, Sniper makes my life easier because they can sit in the back. They just rip through every Majoris immediately. Activating Camo Cloak does not take the full charge immediately. So if you can reposition quickly and then
Save some
you can
energy,
save
yeah.
it for later, which is quite nice. The Sniper is also great at saving runs. Not quite as good as the Bulwark, but they can save the run by reviving faster. They have a perk, what is it called? Medikai Adept. Revive 30% faster. There's a perk where you can revive and you camo cloak, hide yourself for free during the revive and them, which is quite nice. I think that they're very good in that respect, especially as the Bulwark. I don't need ammo crates. That's why my favorite team combination, you might agree with this, is Bulwark Tactical Sniper. Because, because you just give all the ammo crates to the Sniper and they just murder I don't need ammo crates to the Bulwark at all. So
that is my pick for team composition.
Yes.
If you're going into Ruthless, and I'm like, okay, if we're maximizing potential here, we're really trying to be as optimal as possible. That's my team pick every
100%.
time. Is tactical Bulwark Sniper.
100%. So that's why I put Sniper at the bottom of A tier, although I could definitely see them being top of B tier, depending on, the person on the team who has loaded up the Sniper and how they're playing. Okay, so the final class is the Heavy, and this is my second class that I got to max level. I was really excited to play the Heavy. I still enjoy them, but not as devastating as I had hoped. I do think they have a unique role. I think they're fun. It's a great power fantasy. I put them at the bottom of B tier.
We're the same.
Hey, okay, great.
I was like, I have a feeling the way you're talking, I have a feeling we agree on this one. But bottom of B tier, just underneath the Sniper.
Exactly. I put him at the bottom. I put him underneath the Vanguard. Well, I think you have him noticeably under the Vanguard, right? In A tier.
Yeah. Vanguard's bottom A tier.
Yeah, sure. Me. Okay. So bottom of B tier for the Heavy for me. And they're fun, and they are very good at trash crowd control clearing. They're very good at that, and they can do a respectable job on Terminus or Extremist level enemies, depending on what weapon you've brought to the party.
That's right.
Yeah. So I started off with the Heavy Bolter, the machine gun type deal, which I very much enjoyed. It's great for ammo economy. You can keep ammo for quite a while, especially if you get the version of the gun that has a larger mag size or a larger ammo reserve size. And then that was fun, but I noticed a distinct lack of punching power. So I changed over to the multi-melta, which is phenomenal. And there's a perk on the tree that now has got me addicted to the multi-melta on the Heavy, which is called multi-kill. Killing 5 or more enemies with one shot from a multi-melta immediately replenishes ammo by 1. So you're a king of trash clear where you just fire into it. I get excited when I see waves of Terminus level Terminids coming down, and you just fire into the crowd, and you're not wasting any ammo because you're killing 5 of the little guys, and you're just pow, pow, pow. You're getting all your ammo back.
You've got the perk in the perk tree for Heavy that makes it so that when you get a multi-kill of 10 little guys in quick succession, it just gives you a free armor charge as well.
Yes.
So that's you just stand in there and just pound away, and you get ammo and armor.
They're very efficient at crowd control, which I really, really appreciate. They have respectable bulk, nowhere close to Bulwark level bulk, but respectable bulk. You have Fortitude, improve your health by 20%. You have the ability, the Iron Halo, which I think is quite nice, and recharges respectably fast, especially if you're doing your true Vanguard stuff and you're putting on that team perk, which is letting me the inner fire, replenishing my Iron Halo quite fast, which is nice. I will notice that when a Majoris enemy shows up and I'm not prepared for it, or God forbid, a fast-moving extremist level enemy.
Yes, that's the Achilles heel, right?
Kind of tricky. And don't get me wrong, I've done a very good job at learning to perfect parry with my Heavy. I'm perfect parrying with a multi-melta, which is hard to do, but you can still do it. But I do kind of I sweat noticeably when I'm in a situation where maybe we're trapped in a big wave and the fire team has separated, when that happens. And I'm surrounded by 3 Majoris And I'm like, oh god, can someone please?
You're like, let me get in my heavy stance. Oh crap, gotta get out of heavy stance. Okay, let me set into my. Oh crap, gotta get out.
I'm like, Sniper, I need help here. Like, I'll help you clear out the trash. You got to get these guys off me. Like, they're just straight up bullying me. I noticed that is definitely the Achilles heel of the heavy. But I would much rather.
He's not a dueler.
No, he's not a dueler at all. He's not a dueler. But I would much rather have a heavy on my team than an assault player.
Than an assault, yeah.
Because I think they do a better job of trash clear. I think they're bulkier. I think they have better team helping perks. All the team perks on the heavy are actually quite nice. I mean, listen to this.
The Iron Halo is very nice too. Yeah.
But listen to these team perks. You have all squad members take 20% less damage from ranged attacks. That's fantastic.
Yeah, that is very nice.
You have ammo capacity for all squad members up by 25%. That's great. You have reviving squad member immediately restores them to full health. That's quite nice too. I think that the heavy has great team perk availability. I just don't think that they're more exceptional than the options I've put above them.
Right. Agree.
Yeah.
Yep. We hard agree on that.
Excellent. Well, damn, that was efficient. Thanks for joining me for the chat there, TV. I enjoy.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, buddy. Let's grind a few out in the future and have a great weekend.
Yep. Be well, everybody who watches Fallout. You have good taste.
Please let me know down in the comment section if you agree or disagree with our rankings and why. Again, shout out to my buddy TV for joining me. Please check out his channel linked below. Peace.